So today we're doing the Disney unpopular opinions that I have, because I have a few. I feel like being a little controversial and sipping the Disney tea. Except this isn't tea, this is coffee. It's a mix of opinions based on the theme parks and also on the movies. Feel free to comment down below and let me know if you agree with me. And you're welcome to also argue with me in the comments about why I'm wrong. That's fine. So the first topic is Mickey ears, because I know we all love them and I know they're super popular. My opinion is they are not worth buying at the parks. There are a ton of Etsy shops out there who make handmade Mickey ears, and honestly, they do it better. There's just so many talented people out there making such unique designs and themes that you don't see at the parks. Plus, you get to support someone's small business. And I just feel like instead of spending the money at the parks and buying the generic ears that you're gonna see everyone else wearing, so yours are not gonna be any special, why not support a small shop? Speaking of Mickey ears, this is one of my favorite. This is by Chelsey Creations, and I will link her Etsy shop down below. The majority of the ears I own are from Etsy shops and from people who hand make them themselves. And this is just an example of how unique and special and different these ears are when you're walking around the parks. I feel like I get so many compliments on these ears. Chelsey is super talented, but there's a ton of other Etsy shops out there. A lot of people are amazing at doing them. The next unpopular opinion I have is that I think it's silly to spend money at the parks on carnival fair food. By that I mean hot dogs, corn dogs, turkey legs, I mean popcorn, and I love popcorn, but I mean like just generic plain popcorn, things that you can find anywhere else pretty much. Actually, if you go to a mall, you can find pretzels that are probably better than the Mickey pretzels. I know they're cute and they're shaped like Mickey, but it's just they taste the same as any other pretzel. If you go to the mall and you go to like one of those pretzel spots like Auntie Annie, what's it called, like Auntie Anne's or one of those, they have like the cinnamon sugar pretzels and they have like the pizza pretzels, or even churros. I'm sorry, but Disney's churros are not that good. In fact, I think if you go to like Churromania at the mall or whatever, you'll find better churros. So my opinion is, why would you spend money at the parks on fair food, as I like to call it, instead of buying something that is specifically unique to Disney? There are snacks and items that you can't find anywhere else. For example, in Magic Kingdom, the cheeseburger egg rolls or spring rolls are amazing. I mean, I understand like the Mickey Premium Bar, the Dole Whip. Just like in Galaxy's Edge, there is a popcorn that is like spicy and sweet, and I forgot what it's called right now, but that popcorn's different than probably anywhere else. Then that's worth it. But just to get plain normal butter popcorn, I just don't think it's worth the money, but do what you must. And I do judge people who buy turkey legs and pickles in a bag. It's just, Number 3 is the Great Movie Ride. It breaks my heart that they replaced the Great Movie Ride with the Runaway Railway, whatever. It's not that it's a bad ride. I think it's fine, and I'm glad that there's a ride with Mickey and Minnie in it, because we kind of needed that. But the Great Movie Ride was such an iconic, it's one of those rides that holds a lot of nostalgia for me. I remember going on it as a kid, and I remember being terrified at the alien scene and just being fascinated with the Wizard of Oz scene. I think it was such a fun idea to go through the movies and kind of like go throughout time of the classics. It just made perfect sense in the Chinese theater and it's Hollywood studios. I'm just not over it. Plus, it was one of the only Disney rides where you could actually have audience engagement, and the actual cast members would get out of the ride and go into the, you know, scene and kind of do acting, and it was just such a fun experience that I just don't understand. Mickey and Minnie's just doesn't compare. Number 4 is the fireworks. Personally, and I know a lot of people will disagree with me, I'm not emotionally connected to the fireworks of Disney. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people love the fireworks and they're very attached to seeing them, but my opinion is that is the perfect time to go on rides that usually have a long line. In fact, it's really nice to go on a ride and watch the fireworks from the ride. For example, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. It's always one of the longest waits at the park, and we pretty much can never go on it until the fireworks start. And then you just can hop right on practically, because everybody's so fascinated staring at the fireworks and watching the castle show. So it's the perfect time to go on the ride, and then you can watch the fireworks from the ride, which is actually very magical. We've also seen the fireworks from the People Mover, the Astro Orbiter. That's a great spot to watch the fireworks from. I just think it's the perfect time to bounce around, and you can literally go on like 3 rides in the time that the fireworks are going on. Number 5, I think, is probably actually not that unpopular. I think most people agree, but Boo Bash is not worth the money. And I think it's kind of sad because I saw how California's, it's not called Boo Bash in California, I forgot what it's called right now, but their Oogie Boogie Bash or whatever it's called is way better than the one in Orlando. And I think it's crazy to charge like $120 or whatever it is for like 2 or 3 hours of park time and candy. And I know you get to see certain characters that you don't usually see, like the villains. I think the amount they're charging is a bit of a stretch. I guess I get it for the kids, you know, but number 6 is I think 3D rides suck. And I wish they would just stop with the 3D rides. I know there's not that many, so I'm glad, but the newest ride, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, is 3D. And I just feel like, why can't we just have better screens? Instead of making us wear those glasses that for some reason are always blurry and a little fogged up, I don't know, I guess with the mask on especially, it makes you fog up the glasses, and I just feel like every time I go on Flight of Passage, it's blurry. What's up with that? And most 3D rides encourage motion sickness to those who have it, which I do. So yeah, I have a little bit of a bias towards 3D rides. I hate them. So that's enough of that, please. No more 3D rides. Number 7 is that I believe there is no ride that is worth waiting over 50 minutes for. The only way I can justify it is Rise of the Resistance, because it is such a thorough, long adventure ride where there's so much to it that I guess I would wait an hour for that ride. But pretty much everything else at Disney is not worth waiting that long for. I guess if it's your first time visiting Disney and you really need to find out what these rides are, try rope dropping and waiting till the end of the day during the fireworks, or at the very end to go right on the rides that have the longest waits, because usually that's when you can get it the best. If you only have a certain amount of hours in the park, you're gonna spend more time waiting in line for a ride than doing anything else at the parks. So I just think it's not worth it, and I think you're better off just enjoying the atmosphere of Disney, getting some snacks, taking some photos, going to see some shows, go on the rides that don't have the long waits. The first time we ever went on Flight of Passage, we waited almost like 2.5 hours. I feel like once you wait that long for a ride, you're almost always gonna walk out and be like, that was not worth it. So number 8 has to do with like social distancing and the mask. I'm curious to know what you think, but I think it's weird that they continue to force the mask on us when we're in lines, but they have stopped with the social distancing. There was a time where we were separated by marks on the floor, and everybody respected it, and it was actually really nice. You had your space, people weren't up in your, you know. Why not let the mask be an optional thing and just keep the social distancing? What's the point of wearing a mask if people are this close to my face? For that, let them not be close to my face and let me not wear a mask. I'm just saying, I don't know, maybe someone else out there thinks differently. Let me know in the comments. Also, I know that the social distancing like markers on the lines did make the line look a lot longer, and I get that, but I'll take it so I don't have to have people so close to me. So number 9 is probably the most controversial one, I think, because I know people have a very big fandom for these. I don't understand the pins. I'm sorry. Why do people spend so much money collecting every single type of pin? If you are excited for a certain event that you're going to, or maybe it's the 50th anniversary, and you want to have like this little memory, so you keep the little pin. But buying like all the pins all the times and being obsessed with pins and just spending anywhere between like $10 to $15 all the time on pins, they're just little things that you decorate your stuff with. I don't understand the obsession with pins. I already have to justify my mug collection, and this is worth 20 to 25 bucks, and at least I can drink out of it, and it's beautiful, I can display it. But pins are like just this little thing. I'm sorry, I just don't get the pin thing, and I know a lot of people are very passionate about their pins, and I'm so sorry to offend you if you think that I'm wrong, but I just don't understand. Number 10 is very similar to number 9, where I don't get the whole magic bands thing, where people keep buying multiple magic bands and they have all these different themed magic bands. The magic band that I wear is the same one I got the first time I ever got my magic band, when I became an annual pass holder like years ago, and it's pink. It's plain, it has no theming, there's nothing special to it, and I promise that my experience at the parks is just as good without having themed magic bands. I don't get it. Number 11, I don't think the value budget-friendly hotels of Disney are worth the price. I just find it weird that people spend that much money on hotels that are on property, that are very average, that are not, I mean, I've heard horror stories about some of these hotels. For the price that you would spend per night at a value resort of Disney, is it called a resort at that point? Is it more like a hotel? I don't know. For that price, you could go off property and stay at a much nicer hotel. I do understand the benefits of staying on property, especially when it comes to, you know, the transportation to Disney and all the stuff. But if you just pick a hotel really close, like I'm talking 3 minutes away from Disney, and then you get an Uber ride over to Disney, it's not gonna be that bad. I just don't think staying on property is something that needs to be that important. Number 12, I still haven't truly accepted the fact that Marvel is Disney. Superheroes just don't feel like Disney to me. And I get the whole Star Wars thing. At first I didn't get it, and now I'm feeling it. I feel Star Wars as Disney. I believe it. But Marvel? I still relate superheroes and Marvel related characters to Universal Studios because they have the Hulk coaster and they have Spider-Man and they have all these rides that are in that universe, and then now you're telling me they're Disney. But to be honest, I am not truly much of a Marvel fan, so I'm a little biased. Number 13, the Star Wars hotel that is coming is made only for the rich, and I think that's messed up. It is ridiculous the amount of money that you would have to spend to be able to experience that. I understand they're giving you a lot and it's probably going to be an amazing experience, but I just think it's messed up because realistically I don't understand how I'm gonna ever go see it or experience it. So the only way is if they come up with maybe different tiers, or maybe there's a way you can just go visit it and that's it. The same way that I've basically never stayed at a Disney resort because it's expensive. At least I can go visit them and eat at their restaurants and kind of like feel like I'm at the resorts, and I can go get a drink at the bar there. But unless they make that option for the Star Wars one, I just think it's gonna suck that I'm probably never gonna see it. So we'll see how that goes. Number 14 is that I think Photopass should be free. And I'm pretty sure most people would love this, of course. But I just don't understand why it's not free. I feel like if you at least are an annual pass holder, it should be included. But to be honest, I think it should be included with anyone's park entrance ticket. Why is it that crazy? I don't think it's much of a loss from their end. It's not a big deal. You have all these photographers out there. Their job is to take photos of people. Can you let us just have those pictures so I don't have to ask strangers to take our pictures whenever we're at the parks? And at least if you're not gonna make it free, can Disney at least make it a little bit more reasonable price, because it's pretty expensive for Photopass, and I just don't understand. I'm not asking for you to print out the photos for me. I just want to take a screenshot of them so I could post them on Instagram and have some nice photos. Number 15 is I think that there should be a festival at Epcot at all times. In fact, if I go to Epcot and there's no festival going on, I feel like Epcot is just kind of like, like this isn't the same. Something's very much missing. There's a lack of atmosphere. There's a lack of stuff going on. It's just kind of like, I don't know. I just feel like there should never be a point where Epcot should just be normal Epcot. It should be always a festival, and every festival should go into the next one, and there should not be a gap of just time in between when there's no festival. Just saying. For number 16, I kind of wanted to go into like the films and get off the parks for a little bit. I think Lion King 2, Simba's Pride is the best Disney sequel that exists. And I know there's a ton of people who would probably say Frozen 2, Toy Story 2, whatever. Simba's Pride is a masterpiece. The music, Kovu and Kiara, that is the cutest Disney couple. He's a bad boy, but he's a good guy. And, the songs especially though, in that movie, pretty much just as good or better than the first film. Also, Aladdin 3, which is Aladdin the King of Thieves, is also great for being a third installment of the films. The only problem is Aladdin 2, Return of Jafar, is not that good. Number 17, I think Rapunzel is way better than Frozen, and I get the whole Frozen hype, but I feel like there should be way more of a hype for Rapunzel. And it really does bother me that all Rapunzel has in the parks is bathrooms. I'm offended. Number 18 is that Tower of Terror and Haunted Mansion are my favorite themed rides at Disney, but yet they have the worst movies. Why is the movie that's based off of such amazing concepts of a ride so bad when we have Pirates of the Caribbean, where the ride and the movies are amazing? Why couldn't they have done better with Haunted Mansion and Tower of Terror? I'm just saying. Number 19, Aladdin deserves a dark ride. And I think it's crazy that the only ride Aladdin has is the magic carpet ride, which is just a knockoff of Dumbo. Why? Can you imagine the Cave of Wonders and that whole experience, and you're on a magic carpet and you're like going through it, you're flying over Agrabah, and just the whole concept. It could be the same style as the Peter Pan's flight, where you're kind of going around and seeing the world from below, but I just feel like there's so much that can be done with an Aladdin dark ride, and it pains me to know that it's probably never gonna happen, but one can dream. And last but not least, number 20, this is probably the most controversial one too. I'm sorry to those who I offend. I think that there is potential that Universal might be better than Disney. Not yet though, not yet, but I think one day, soon. Once Universal adds the Epic Universe, and there's Nintendo Land, they already have the Harry Potter world, which is, the theming is amazing. And honestly, I don't think any ride at Disney compares to Hagrid's. I understand for children, Disney is better because Universal doesn't have as many kid-friendly rides, so I get that. But what I'm saying is for the adults, Universal is gonna be where it's at. Because Disney keeps raising prices, Universal is adding more and more stuff. We got Halloween Horror Nights in Universal. I've always been a little bit more on the Disney side than Universal, but I feel like I can see myself slowly teetering over there within the next few years. So we'll see. I do not have an annual pass with Universal yet. I used to have one years ago, and then I got a Disney one, and I've been with Disney for a while. But if Disney keeps raising their prices on their annual passes and stuff, I just might head over to Universal because it's pretty fun over there too. I do agree though that Disney just has a different feeling in the air. Like there's more magic, there's more of that nostalgia to me. So I will always have Disney as like a, you know, special place in my heart. But I just think Universal might be the supreme theme park if Disney doesn't watch out. Definitely let me know in the comments if you disagree with me or if you agree with me and what your thoughts are, because I'm curious to know. And I hope you enjoyed my unpopular opinions, and hope I didn't piss anyone off too much by saying that I didn't like pins. Toodaloo!